Imagine a world where every word we speak has a profound impact, not only on ourselves but also on those around us. A space where words are not mere sounds but powerful tools. They can heal or destroy, unite or divide, build or tear down. We live immersed in a linguistic universe where every phrase, every syllable, carries the potential to transform realities. Today we will explore the 7 diseases of the tongue, ailments that, if left untreated, can corrode our relationships, undermine our integrity, and even affect our connection with God. Prepare yourself for an experience that transcends words. By the end, you will not only understand their power, but will also feel a deep call to elevate your communication to a level that honors your faith and the dignity of every person who crosses your path. Before we continue, if this message is resonating with you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more inspiring content like this. Every week, we share reflections that can transform your life and help you grow in your faith. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. In Proverbs 18:21, we are reminded that the tongue holds immense power. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Just as a gardener reaps the fruits of their labor, we reap the consequences of our words. When we use the tongue correctly, we can spread life, encouragement, and vitality around us. But when we misuse it, we can cause irreparable harm. In this journey, we will examine 7 diseases that affect our communication, ailments that, if not controlled, can have devastating effects on our lives and the lives of those around us. The first disease is the habit of speaking excessively. Although this condition is common in our society, it is not normal. Proverbs 10:19 warns, "In the multitude of words, sin is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is wise." Speaking without control inevitably leads to error, while wisdom resides in those who know when to remain silent. Excessive words not only reveal a lack of self-control, but can also lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and even sin. Imagine someone who talks non-stop without listening to others. That person not only exhausts those around them, but also misses opportunities to learn and grow. Silence, on the other hand, allows us to reflect, listen, and respond with wisdom. In Ecclesiastes 5:2, we are urged to be cautious when speaking, especially in the presence of God. Do not be rash with your mouth, and let not your heart utter anything hastily before God. For God is in heaven and you on earth, therefore let your words be few. This verse reminds us that our words carry special weight when directed toward God. We must not make hasty promises or address matters before Him lightly. An angel records everything we say, and one day we will give an account for it. If we do not live according to what we say, we will be confronted by our own words. Therefore, it is crucial that our words be sincere and backed by actions. How many times have we promised something to God in a moment of emotion, only to forget it later? This passage calls us to be mindful of the seriousness of our words. The second disease is idle words, those spoken without purpose or impulsively. Jesus warns in Matthew 12:36, "But I say to you that for every idle word men may speak, they will give account of it in the day of judgment." Every word we say, even those that seem insignificant, will have consequences. Idle words not only include gossip or vain comments, but also those that are not backed by truth or integrity. Think of the times you've said something without thinking, just to fill an uncomfortable silence. Those words, though they may seem harmless, can have a negative impact on others. In Matthew 5:37, Jesus says, "But let your yes be yes, and your no, no. For whatever is more than these is from the evil one." Exaggeration in speech, empty promises, and words that do not reflect the truth come from evil. A simple but powerful piece of advice is this: if you don't want to say it, don't say it. This rule, though simple, can transform your life. You will become a more thoughtful, prudent, and trustworthy person. Imagine how your relationships would change if every word you spoke was intentional and filled with truth. If this message is helping you reflect on how you use your words, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more content that inspires you to live a life aligned with God's principles. Your subscription helps us continue creating valuable content for you. The third disease is slander, an evil that spreads like a virus in our relationships. Leviticus 19:16 commands, You shall not go about as a talebearer among your people. Gossip is harmful and destructive, and in the New Testament, Satan is called the accuser, which underscores the gravity of this practice. When we spread false or harmful information about others, we are doing the enemy's work. Gossip not only harms the person being talked about, but also corrupts those who listen and repeat it. Proverbs 18:8 compares the words of a gossip to tasty morsels that penetrate deep within. The words of a talebearer are like tasty trifles, and they go down into the inmost body. These words may seem harmless or even attractive in the moment, but in reality they are poison to our relationships. We must reject gossip, not only by avoiding spreading it, but also by refusing to listen to it. Proverbs 20:19 warns, "He who goes about as a talebearer reveals secrets. Therefore do not associate with one who flatters with his lips." Listening to gossip makes you complicit in the harm it causes. Think about how you feel when someone tells you gossip. Do you feel uncomfortable, or are you tempted to keep listening? Next time, remember that every bite of gossip is poison to your heart. The fourth disease is lying, one of the most destructive practices we can adopt. Proverbs 6:16-19 lists 7 things God hates, including a lying tongue and a false witness who speaks lies. Lying not only harms others, but also separates us from God. Proverbs 12:22 states, "Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are His delight." Lying destroys trust, which is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Once trust is broken, it is difficult to rebuild. Jesus explains in John 8:44 that all lies come from the devil. He is a liar and the father of it. Every time we lie, we are aligning ourselves with the enemy. Revelation 21:8 warns that liars will have their part in the lake of fire. Lying is a fatal disease if not stopped and cured. We must seek truth at all times, because the truth sets us free and draws us closer to God. How many times have we lied to avoid an uncomfortable consequence? This passage reminds us that lying is never the solution. The fifth disease is flattery, a deceptive practice that may seem harmless, but has serious consequences. Psalm 12:1-3 describes how flattering lips and double hearts are a plague in society. They speak idly, everyone with his neighbor. With flattering lips and a double heart they speak. Flattery is not sincere praise, but a manipulation aimed at gaining favor or advantage. How many times have we flattered someone not because we believed it, but because we wanted something from them? Proverbs 26:28 warns, "A lying tongue hates those who are crushed by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin." Flattering others is setting a trap for our own feet. We must avoid false praise and seek sincerity in our words. The truth, though sometimes hard to hear, is always better than a lie disguised as praise. Imagine what the world would be like if everyone were sincere but kind at the same time. That is the balance we should strive for. If this message is helping you reflect on how you use your words, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more content that inspires you to live a life aligned with God's principles. Your subscription helps us continue creating valuable content for you. The sixth disease is speaking hastily, an evil that can cost us blessings and opportunities. Proverbs 29:20 says, "Do you see a man hasty in his words? There is more hope for a fool than for him." Hasty words are often reckless and can lead to negative consequences. Imagine someone who responds without thinking, only to regret it later. That person not only harms others, but also loses credibility. A biblical example of this is Moses. In Numbers 20:27-11, God told him to speak to a rock so that water would flow. However, in a moment of anger, Moses struck the rock instead of speaking to it. This act of disobedience, driven by hasty words, cost him the privilege of entering the promised land. We must control our words, especially in moments of anger or frustration, because hasty words can have lasting consequences. How many times have we said something in a moment of anger, only to regret it later? This passage reminds us of the importance of thinking before speaking. The seventh disease is vulgarity, the use of crude and offensive language. Ephesians 4:29 urges us, "Let no corrupt word proceed out of your mouth, but what is good for necessary edification." Vulgar language not only degrades the one who uses it, but also harms those who hear it. As Christians, we are called to reflect purity and respect in everything we do, including how we speak. Imagine how you feel when you hear someone using vulgar words. Do you feel uncomfortable, or are you tempted to imitate them? This passage reminds us that our words should reflect God's holiness. Colossians 3:8 exhorts, "But now you must also put off all these: anger, wrath, malice, blasphemy, filthy language out of your mouth." Our speech should reflect God's holiness. Instead of using vulgar words, we should use our language to build up, encourage, and extend grace to others. Imagine how the world would change if we all used our words to build rather than destroy. Before we conclude, if this message has impacted you and you want to continue growing in your faith, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to receive updates on our upcoming videos. Also, leave us a comment telling us which part of this message resonated most with you. Your opinion is very important to us and helps us continue creating content that inspires and edifies you. Thank you for being part of this community. May the peace and grace of God be with you today and always. Until the next video.